Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and guess what? We got some images of the Vanguard, and now keep in mind these are some very early, like, gray boxing type stuff, but I think we're finally getting to see what this ship looks like, and we can finally kind of start to have a better idea of what this ship is actually going to be about, and at least what to expect a little bit more. Now, the ship is going on sale tomorrow, so let's talk about what we've got while it's kind of flashing up the limited imagery that we do have so far. Now, it's a two-person crew confirmed, but looking at this, it's a fairly thick ship. So, there's probably several cabins inside. It might end up being a three-man crew. We'll have to kind of wait and see. I'm counting on two because that's what's been confirmed, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's more. If we do get a third, maybe it's a pilot, a Rio operator, maybe the turret's something separate. Who knows? Now, on this, there's some interesting design things that we can look at, and one of the first things that I kind of notice is what looks like the old school pop-up headlamps that were on some old sports cars. And if you look right around the cockpit, what you see is these little openings that kind of popped up, and I think this is most likely going to be that advanced sensor suite that this ship is supposed to have back when it used to be the Bulldog and it was first announced as a concept. Maybe these are the sensors that are used to help in exploration, or maybe it is a deep space fighter. Maybe these help to pick up, different ships and at crazy ranges. Who knows? The description goes on to talk about it, how the Vanguard is going to have an advantage fighting around nebulas and asteroids. So maybe in an environment kind of like Dying Star, we've got crap floating everywhere. Maybe you're not going to lose your target when they fly behind something at a longer range. Maybe this is also something that the Rio passenger uses, either to control and fire missiles, or maybe it's used for operating the turret. Maybe it's not actually manned. Maybe the co-pilot sitting in the backseat. And probably the least likely option is lights. It could be just pop-up headlamps. I sincerely doubt that, but talking about nebulas and asteroids, maybe it's just going to give you a little bit more visibility. Now, the nose gun on this looks to be very similar to that on the Avenger, and it may end up being the Tiger Strike as well. Maybe it's something similar, maybe it's something bigger. We don't really know. Now, it does look to have what I'm guessing is probably size 2 hardpoints underneath the main engines, and you can see how they retract. And based on how they retract and pull in, I'm going to go ahead and assume that these are gimbaled as well. I say they're probably size 2 because they look to be Badgers. Now, Badgers do seem to be what they use as far as just sticking weapons on random parts of the ship, just to kind of get an idea of what it looks like. So maybe it ends up being size 3, maybe they're size 1s, I don't know. Maybe it's size 2, but it's not going to be Badgers, but that's what it looks like to me. And speaking of Badgers, the turret on the top looks to have 2 of them as well. So if that's the case, maybe then we're looking at size 2 on the wing, size 2 on the turret, maybe a size 3 on the nose. Now, one of the cooler features is the way the missiles actually pop up, and it kind of looks like how the Cutlass Blue has its missiles kind of tucked away on the inside of the ship. This actually has, just like all the other weapons except for the nose, retractable ones. And right behind the center line, or down the center line, right behind the cockpit, you notice 2 little flaps that open up, and it houses 8 missiles. Now, there's no way to tell what size those are. It looks very nondescriptive in there. You can just tell that they're missiles. If I had to throw a number down, I'd say probably size 2. And based on the limited size, it's not like an underwing. It's not like an underwing compartment where you can slap 1 giant missile on there, or maybe 4 small missiles. It's a limited space in there, so I don't think you're going to be able to load up the big missiles. Maybe you get a range between 1 and 3. Probably 1 and 2, but who knows? We're doing a lot of speculating today if you haven't figured that out. Now, I would guess how everything stores away, everything folds in. I think that's for the pure purpose of flight, to conserve the power. Maybe it's good to limit space debris from hitting you. And the ship looks like it's going to be pretty fast. Normally when you see things fold in like this, you think, oh, that's to make it more aerodynamic. Well, in space, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So I think it's probably going to be a pretty fast ship, and maybe it has some function, maybe keeping the radar signature down by having a lower cross section. Now, the engines look very large, and I guess it depends on where the engine actually starts and where the engine actually ends. If you actually look at this, you'll notice there's kind of these round things on the front, and that could maybe be some sort of intake. Maybe those end up being some sort of retro thrusters, or maybe that's part of the advanced sensor suite. But whatever they are, if that ends up being like an intake for that engine, and it goes all the way down the long things on the side, that could potentially be a very large engine. And based on the range, we're going to have a speed cap, it seems like. So if that ends up being the case in the persistent universe, it needs to be fast to be a decent long-range fighter. So either way, wherever they start, the engine size looks like it could be very big. I would guess it's going to have plenty of thrust, and I think that's what we need to expect out of the ship. So this is our first look. The ship is supposed to go on sale starting tomorrow. Remember, the price tag is $250. And again, you know, I think there's probably going to be a lot of questions about, is this a justifiable price for a fighter? You know, we look at the space superiority fighter like the Super Hornet, and we're looking, you know, significantly less than that. So what is going to be there to justify the price of the ship? And that's what we all need to kind of wait and see. Sensor suite, long range, you know, and a decent fighter. Those are what we know. But what about those is going to make it special to justify that cost? And that's what we'll have to wait and see on. Now, the sale, I'm guessing, is going to run 7 to 10 days. That's kind of what we're used to seeing, but we're just going to have to, like I always say, wait and see. So I'm going to try and get you guys a should you buy as soon as possible. It's going to be tough this weekend. You know, if not, check me out on Twitter, because even if I can't make a video, I'll kind of do a brief 140-character version of it for you. Otherwise, if you have questions, put them in the comments. I'll try and get to them. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and happy Vanguard Day. Take care.